Imagine a world where computers think like brains, process information using light, or literally grow inside living cells. This isn't science fiction anymore. We're entering a new era where the very definition of computing is being rewritten. It's called next-gen computing, and it's quietly reshaping everything from artificial intelligence to climate modeling. Today, we're diving into three revolutionary frontiers: neuromorphic, photonic, and DNA computing. We'll break down what they are, why they're so important, and how they could change your laptop, data centers, and maybe even your own body within the next decade. For decades, we've been riding the wave of Moore's law, doubling the number of transistors on a chip every 2 years. But we're hitting a wall. A physical wall. Transistors can't shrink forever. We're reaching their atomic limits. What does this mean for us? We're seeing diminishing returns, skyrocketing heat, and massive power consumption. Even the world's most advanced GPS, like NVIDIA's H100, are now hitting bottlenecks caused by energy demands and architectural constraints, not just raw speed. As AI models explode into trillions of parameters, the classic CPU-GPU duo is struggling to keep up. This is where next-gen computing comes in. It's not just about building faster chips, it's about completely rethinking what a computer is. First up, neuromorphic computing, creating machines that think like the human brain. Instead of processing instructions one by one like a CPU, these chips mimic the structure of our own neurons. They use what are called spiking neural network signals that fire and adapt, just like the neurons in your brain do when you learn something new. Think of it like this: a CPU calculates, a GPU accelerates, but a neuromorphic chip learns. Companies like Intel with its Loihi chip, and IBM with TrueNorth, are pioneers in this space. Their chips can process sensory data like sound, vision, or touch using a tiny fraction of the power required by conventional AI systems. In fact, Intel's Loihi chip can perform AI tasks using up to 1,000 times less energy than a standard GPU. Imagine drones, robots, or wearable devices that can learn on their own, right on the device itself, without needing a constant connection to the cloud. That's the incredible promise of neuromorphic systems, brain-like intelligence right where you need it, at the edge. Now, let's talk about something truly mind-bending: photonic computing. Instead of using electrons to move and process information, this technology uses photons, particles of light. So why is this so revolutionary? Because light travels much faster than electricity and, crucially, doesn't generate the same amount of heat. This means you could theoretically perform massive parallel computations almost instantaneously, with minimal energy loss. Companies like Lightmatter, Air Labs, and Sequantum are developing optical processors that are poised to outperform even the best GPS for AI workloads. For example, Lightmatter's Envice chip uses light to perform matrix multiplications, the fundamental math behind deep learning, achieving huge gains in both speed and energy savings. Photonic computing could make training AI models 10 to 100 times faster, all while using a fraction of the energy. This isn't just a performance boost, it's an ecological game changer. Imagine data centers powered by light, cool, quiet, and blindingly fast. Now, let's go even deeper, right into biology itself. DNA computing uses actual strands of DNA to store and process information. Instead of the binary 1 south and 0 south of traditional computers, it encodes data using the 4 building blocks of life of T, C, and G. What's the advantage? 2 things: storage density and massive parallelism. DNA can store information 1,000,000 times more densely than the best silicon chips. To put that in perspective, Microsoft and the University of Washington demonstrated that the data from an entire library could fit into just a few drops of liquid DNA. But it's not just about storage. Because millions of DNA molecules can interact and compute simultaneously, it's a powerhouse for parallel processing. While it's slower than electronics for simple tasks, for complex problems like genetic simulations or breaking modern cryptography, its potential is unmatched. Imagine tiny biocomputers living inside your body, monitoring your health, detecting diseases, and adapting in real time. That's the future DNA computing could unlock. So, What connects all these futuristic technologies? At their core, neuromorphic, photonic, and DNA computing all share a single goal: to make computing more intelligent, efficient, and sustainable. Neuromorphic computing brings learning and adaptability. Photonic computing delivers incredible speed and efficiency. And DNA computing offers unparalleled density and the ability to integrate with biological systems. They aren't competing against each other. They're converging. The future of computing might be a hybrid system that combines them all then. Optical front-end for speed, neuromorphic logic for learning, and DNA storage for long-term memory. That's the real frontier, creating computing architectures that mirror the beautiful complexity of life itself. You might be wondering if this is all just research in a lab somewhere. Actually, it's already happening. Intel's Loihi is being used in labs for robotic navigation and advanced sensory processing. Lightmatter's photonic chips are being tested in AI data centers to accelerate large language models. IBM and MIT are collaborating on hybrid photonic neuromorphic systems. And Microsoft has a dedicated DNA storage project under its Molecular Information Systems Lab. Governments are taking this very seriously. The U.S. DARPA and the U.S. Human Brain Project are pouring billions into neuromorphic and photonic research and development. In fact, Gartner already lists next-gen computing as a strategic technology trend to watch through 2030. So, this isn't distant science fiction, it's a quiet revolution happening right now. What does all this mean for engineers and developers? If you work in AI and data or hardware, this shift will redefine your entire toolkit. AI engineers might soon be designing models specifically for neuromorphic chips instead of GPS. Hardware engineers could be working with photonic interconnects instead of traditional copper wires, and biotech and data engineers might collaborate to build biological storage systems. Learning about hardware-software co-design, neuromorphic algorithms, and energy-aware AI will become just as crucial as learning cloud computing or DevOps was a decade ago. In short, next-gen computing won't just make our systems faster, it will fundamentally change the skills we need to stay relevant in the tech industry. Looking at the bigger picture, if the 20th century was the age of electricity, the 21st is becoming the age of intelligence that's built into the very fabric of everything around us. We are witnessing a profound transition from digital to biological, from electronic to photonic, and from pre-programmed logic to self-organizing, learning systems. This change is not just what computers can do, but what they fundamentally are. It's easy to miss, but we are living through a computing renaissance, the first major one since the invention of the microprocessor. So, the next time you look at your laptop and wonder what's next, remember this: the future of computing might not look like a chip at all. It might look like a neuron, a beam of light, or a strand of DNA. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the future of technology, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I have more videos coming that explore how AI, hardware, and biology are converging to reshape our world. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Which of these technologies, neuromorphic, photonic, or DNA computing, do you think will hit the mainstream first? Thanks for watching.